Hello, this is Gary with Gabbin with Gary. Thank you for coming back for part two with Animal Rescue Maruipol and Julia Vrillaund and Claudia Panzer. Again, this is part two. Please like, please subscribe, please enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys later.
But even in Ukraine, I remember we never thought that anything like this might have happened. Because like we in Ukraine, we are safe, all religions are tolerated, we are so tolerant to everybody. I personally would never have imagined that my country could be at war.
Yes.
Especially from a neighbor, like we are all so connected, we have relatives there, they have relatives here. And we never thought of it. It was like, it's surreal, and it has been more than a year, and I still, sometimes I wake up and I don't like trust it's true. No, until I get connected with all the news, social media, and then every time I have to realize that this is true, this is the reality.
Yeah.
Were you in Ukraine when the war started?
No, I left Ukraine when the revolution was there, if you remember.
When?
In 2014.
Oh, okay. So when they took Crimea, you left?
Yes. So I participated in that revolution, and then I moved for personal reasons.
No, that's okay. I actually sent 5 letters to the Legion in 2022 trying to go in because I'm an infantry vet, and so I wanted to go, but they kept on I kept on getting letters. Well, not yet. We don't need you yet. You know, so I really wanted to go, but now I'm happy I didn't go because, well, now I'm 55, and you know, your brain thinks a little differently when you get a little older.
Well, Claudia is going to Ukraine to rebuild it, right? We have this plan.
Oh, I want to go. I would love to live there.
I don't know exactly how this is what it's gonna look like, but I decided I'd take a month off or 2 months or whatever it takes. And I think I can do that. And patient-wise, I mean, and then whatever I can do, help, like another body that can help somewhere there.
And you will be able, there's going to be, you know, after World War II, you had France, Germany, Normandy, England, Poland, Czechoslovakia, they all had to rebuild from nothing. So it took about 10 years. So I can't believe it will take much less. I would imagine maybe a little less because the technology's better, but I mean, the Russians have just, or the orcs have just razed so many towns. It's horrible.
This is so painful.
And then all that again, now we go back to the animals, and I see so many. You know, I post so many. I repost so many things for the animals because one, they're always so innocent. No animals should get hurt, so I feel really bad about that. And like you said, the awareness has to be. I don't know how to get it out there any better than this. Maybe you guys have a better way, but boy, it's very difficult to get the information out there so that Ukraine keeps on getting the support that they need, whether, unfortunately, military and non-military, because it's not going to end tomorrow. And, there's a lot of people in UK right now. There's like over 10,000 applications at this other organization that I interview, and they're taking in people, but they can't take them in because they don't have enough sponsors anymore. The sponsors have stopped being sponsors. So that's been a problem now, is finding sponsors for the people to get out. And that's an issue as well.
Well, the longer the war lasts, the less people want to help, because people get used to the idea. You get used to the new reality, even in Ukraine. Just, my brother is there. He keeps going to work like as if nothing is happening. They get used to it. And same people who donated at the beginning. Oh my God, at the beginning, you can't even imagine, because as I'm from Kiev, all people who knew me from all over the world, they started sending me donation for this Kiev shelter. And at some point, the shelter said, "Oh, stop! We have enough."
Oh,
It was
wow.
the beginning, the first months, and after it's like people go on and live their life, and the animals are forgotten.
So how do we keep up the
Well, I think just internet is the most feasible thing now. Is like I created my Facebook page for Mariupol, and then I moderate two other huge groups, the Ukraine Animal Rescue Information, and we share, and we like.
Oh, you must see all my posts then all the time, because I'm posting everywhere.
Right, and so we try to keep in touch with all other moderators and administrators of the group. They cover not only Ukraine but Romania, for example, and Afghanistan. And we share this information. For example, me, I'm responsible for Mariupol mostly, but I keep in touch with them, and I'm aware of what is going on in Romania, what's going on in other cities of Ukraine, because we have our chats, and I think communication is the most important.
And what do you think that we could do anything more to help?
I don't know, Claudia, do you have any more ideas?
I think we could possibly contact, I for example, contacted The Guardian not too long ago about this 16 dog rescue that Julia organized, essentially. And they had a great story about this guy who walked all the way from, I can't remember where, but to Kiev with
from
his
Mariupol, yeah, with his dog.
Was it Mariupol? To Kiev last year, and they had the story about this guy, and it was all over Facebook, and people commented on it. And so we need more news, more journalists covering this. And I don't know if the Guardian actually responded to me. We sent the story to the whatever main desk or so, but I haven't heard anything back. Maybe there's here in Denver, maybe we can find somebody who works for the Denver Post, and I don't know, just journalists all over, possibly.
Okay,
I used to be a journalist myself. I work on TV, so I can tell you, journalists, they like miracle stories. I did something very bad or something great. So just for them, a rescue of 16 animals from Mariupol, like again, just a rescue, just animals. But if there were an animal who was, for example, injured and then miraculously recovered, and I know, Claudia, it's like a miracle for us what is going on, but for journalists, unfortunately, it's not miraculous.
Well, yeah, the other part is that people don't like to read anymore. They don't really read the newspapers, I don't think.
Yeah, we need TikTok.
Right. And I think that's a problem, because I write articles too, and there's not a lot of, the paper's just not being seen like it used to. There's no local sections or anything like that. And
like usual now.
Exactly. And I think now everyone gets their news online. They don't even, I really don't, the paper here is like $250 a year. And the paper here is like 5-8 pages. So, that's ridiculous. That's like $25 a month just to get.
No, it needs to be social media. Media, online news. Yes.
So I'm connected with the Post, and I've been writing articles now. I'm doing an article now on sponsors, because there's issues with that. So my next one is going to be with the animals. I'm doing. My plate is full, but I'm trying to do what I can. And is there other groups that you guys hook up with to get everything accomplished?
So I'm also friends with that is a Dutch group, the Vagabond Pets. They do a lot in the eastern part of Ukraine. Sorry, in the western part of Ukraine. And I wanted to connect you with that lady. There's one dog. It's just one dog, one dog at a time. Save one at a time. There's one dog that went from Lviv. I never know how to pronounce it correctly. Lviv, and was just brought to, that's Leah, was just taken to a Polish shelter, and I'm hoping to get her into Germany soon. But so this vagabond pets, Marian is her name. She has helped the Western Ukrainian animals quite a lot. So I wanted to connect you with her too.
Yes, she is great. Mariam.
So the most thing it sounds like we need is funding.
Yes,
The funding is the most important thing, it sounds like.
yes, because if you have funding, I think more people would be willing to open their doors and take in 3, 4, 5 animals or so.
Because, for example, we have like a whole chain of how we rescue animals. We'll see an animal, for example, an injured animal in the street. The first thing is to find a volunteer, a local volunteer who would host it, take it to a vet, get the necessary help. And the second thing is to pay for the foster. It means paying for food, paying for permanent care. And then it's finding a transporter. Unfortunately, all of this takes money. So, and even if they with a foster person, sometimes it's possible that they stay longer, but still they have one animal, second, third, and then 10th of animals, and feeding them, it is really an issue, just feeding and providing them vet care.
Yeah.
Do you
So
deal with people? Sorry.
It all starts with the fund.
Where are you going? Sorry, she got off the chair and started walking. I got scared. So is there any way that well, you need money, so we discussed that. We need to find out how to get the big pockets, because there must be, like, I'm imagining that there's so many billionaires out here. We must be able to connect with somebody, and it won't take much. I believe it just takes a heart. So maybe we can look really hard for something like that as well. And like you said, we need to get things in writing and more, maybe some kind of advertising going on Facebook or whatever the case may be. I think that would help. And it costs very little to advertise to get your name out. Maybe that's something that you guys think of.
Issue is that we are not registered as an organization. Even with Linda from the UK and with Claudia, we've been looking on how to make us more official, for example, registering an association. But because we are from different countries, every company, association, or whatever, they're governed laws of this country, and we tried. For example, Linda was trying to register us an association in London, in England, but then everything is connected with paying taxes and accounting and everything, and it's complicated. If we could find a person who has knowledge about it, who is willing to help us to get us registered, we could have much more donations, because when it's official, people are more willing to donate.
Absolutely.
Also, I cannot receive a lot of donations myself because it's my private bank account. So at the point the bank will start questioning me, what is all this income? Is this like money laundering? What is this? Because I donations to my PayPal, then I have to transfer everything to my bank account, and only then I can send it to Mariupol. And it's very complicated because they don't have Ukrainian banks there anymore. They don't have PayPal. They impose on them to have Russian banks, but they don't have a physical bank, so they give them just Russian card numbers. I will not go into detail, but it is so complicated to like transfer these funds to them. So it's easier for us to pay them when they already arrive in Europe with the animals. Then we find solutions on how to pay them here in Europe. But I mean, if we had an organization or an association with a separate bank account, it would have been so much easier. The problem is that we don't have anyone who knows how to do it, how to set it up, where it should be registered, like in the USA or somewhere in Europe, how to have this accounting. So I really wish we could find that person who is like legally, has all this legal ground to help us with that.
So it's not easier to get registered maybe in Germany, because I'm feeling that Germany is a pretty good spot to get registered.
We've been sending one payment to our driver from a German bank. It took 3 weeks for a wire transfer to arrive.
Oh my,
because
okay.
A lot of control, it's a lot of checking, and I don't know how it's to do it better, to have an association or a company, like a public interest company that would not have to pay taxes, because this is public interest what we are doing, or like it's a charity, to register a charity, in fact.
Has Claudia, did you look into a 5013C?
No, but I think that's the way to do it. I don't know either how to do this, but
It's very easy. It's very easy. Just go to your bank and they'll do it for you.
Is it only for Americans, or can like anybody from any other country just join it and participate too? And
I would imagine that it's only for it's an American to get tax-free, but that means that you can collect, I would imagine, from everywhere after that point. With the 5013C. It may be a different number.
No, I think that is the number. Yes, so we started talking about this 2 weeks ago, and I actually, maybe I can talk to my accountant. Maybe he knows.
Well, so I started one a few years back to help military vets, because I'm a vet and I wanted to help the military vets with their animals. And I started that a few years back in Montana, and the bank actually set up my 501 for me. And they did it for free. They were like, okay, this is what we need. This is what you need to do. And they did it all. So maybe you just need to talk to an official at your bank.
That would be easy.
Something that exists that we are just not aware of, something that could facilitate for us the way of getting donations. And the people who donate, they know, because there are so many scammers, you know, they're not even Ukrainian. Sometimes they just register themselves as a Ukrainian. They post these poor pictures of poor animals. It's now very difficult to differentiate and to understand who is legit, who is not. And if we had such an association, that would also, people would feel better when they donate. They would know, oh, my money really goes to help those animals, that the pictures are real, that these people are real, because, oh, they're registered. It means somebody verified them.
That's the problem I have, is vetting. I have a lot of people I deal with a lot of different organizations, and I start reaching out to them to see if they even heard of them or anything. Getting vetted is very difficult, and I'm good. I'm good on the internet and stuff like that. And I have, like, since I've been doing this, I've met so many important people that even they're helping me. I have people on the ground in Ukraine, and I asked them about different organizations, and he tells me, oh no, never heard of them. Don't give to them.
Right, the same, because I'm from Ukraine. You know, if it's a bigger organization, you heard of it, of course. If it's a smaller, or it's like a private person, I can always go and check and talk to them because I speak the language. Yeah, and because I administrate my group and moderate to other big groups, I get these requests all the time. Like, Julia, can you tell us if this person is legit, if I can send money, if I can donate? But still, sometimes there can be mistakes.
Claudia, don't even bother reaching out to the SPCA. They won't help you. So you don't even have to worry about reaching out to them. You need to reach out to a lot of the smaller organizations. You know, Blue Dog Food, Blue Diamond, I think it's actually out of Wyoming or something like that. And they donated pallets of food for me back when, but I don't know how we could get it to you. If we were able to get the food here, I don't even know how to get it to you, because just the expense of flying it out, it would have to go, I can't even imagine how to get it to you. So there is that problem. But, you know, how about reaching out to not organizations, the companies who produce the food in out your way, because there's some really great French dog food companies, and I would reach out to them, pet food companies out there, and they would just probably donate to you food. You could just, they'll just say, come pick it up.
They donate to Ukrainian associations, most Ukrainian charities. And these Ukrainian charities, like UA Animals and there are others, they distribute it to smaller charities or other cities. The problem with Mariupol is the border is just closed. It's closed. Nothing can go there. So all this humanitarian food, it is possible for Kiev and the west of Ukraine and Odessa. It's what they are doing all the time. But my concern is that the need is there in the occupied territories, because once it's occupied, so like all the rest of Ukraine and the world, they forget them. Even Ukrainian volunteers, somehow they treat the Mariupol volunteers as traitors. I don't know why this kind of mentality, but they left there just because they didn't want to leave their animals. They didn't escape. They didn't evacuate with the rest, so they stay there in Mariupol. But somehow they don't receive any help, and nobody is even trying to, because they are considered Russian now. You understand? That's why I paid for them. That's why I felt, because at the beginning I was also helping Kiev and all, because it's my native city. But then I realized at some point that the help is coming, and it keeps coming, because the banks are working, volunteers are there, foreigners can come. Of course, they're restrained because there are no more airplanes, but they take a car or a train and they do come to Mariupol. If you want to come to Mariupol, you have to go all around the world. And so very few people can do it. And the only transporters we have are the local Mariupol people who help us. And they stayed there just because they have many animals and they couldn't leave. So, and they rescued their animals. In fact, at the beginning, they were helping those who left to find their animals, to reunite. And you see, like, this kind of thing. Those who left, they left without their animals. They just left them dying there, burning in the fires and the bombs. And now they are the good ones, because they are Ukrainians, because they left. And they receive help, and people are compassionate to them and all. And those who stay there, they don't receive any help, because, okay, now you're like under Russian occupation, so you are almost Russians.
And so Julia, how does this work right now? So the Russians obviously are occupying these regions. Do they support the people living there? Is there grants? I have no idea what Russians do to these people.
They don't consider them Russians.
Yeah, they don't consider them Russians. They're still Ukrainians, and they don't like them.
Still Ukrainians, and the Russians, they consider like them former Ukrainians, and they humiliate them. For example, one example, as I told you with the banks, the Ukrainian banks don't work there anymore, so they cannot use their Ukrainian cards. Even if they receive donations on their Ukrainian cards, they just cannot cash them. And if they want to go to a Russian bank to open a Russian account, they say, show me your Russian passport. So denounce your Ukrainian nationality, become Russian, and come back then. And people, they don't want to denounce. They still consider. So they're like in this situation that we cannot even deliver any help to them. And these poor animals, they just, why do they have to suffer? It's not their fault at all.
And so does, for example, how does she get the money? You know, when she's fostering a dog till the dog leaves, for example, for Poland or wherever, how does she receive the money?
Well, we have ways, where the money, there is always mafia. So, for example, we do transfer to the Ukrainian cards. Some mafia people, they go to Ukraine, they cash it, and they take like 40% of it to themselves. This is the only way for them to get this money. Of course, there is no PayPal. There are no other. We do send to their Ukrainian cards. It's the only way. Or the other thing is when they come to Europe to bring animals, then we cash it and give it to them in cash. And they go back.
What about bringing animals to the States? Would that help?
Yes. So yes, that is possible. And there are people who are doing that. And I actually talked to one flight nanny, and I'm sure there are more than that, more than just one lady. It's about $2,000-3,000. But that lady, so I talked to somebody, she's Ukrainian, she lives in Boston. And she goes there, she picks up the animal, she brings it here. But that's one animal at a time. I don't know how to make it a bigger organization, but it's about $2,000 to $3,000 per animal.
It is very expensive. It costs us $600-700 per animal to bring them from Mariupol to Poland or to Germany, because you cannot just and bring an animal. You need to make all vaccination, anti-rabies vaccination, then passport, microchip, quarantine, and everything, and only then you pay for transport and bring. The rules, they remain the rules. Every country has its rules. They have to cross many countries, many borders. They are checked there. Yeah, one animal is like, I count in euros because I'm in Europe, so it's cost 6
Okay, that's why I wanted to make sure it was you were telling me in euro.
Yes. We had some dogs, and usually it was before this rescue of 16 animals, it was one by one. So we would take one dog, prepare it, send it. We had one dog sent to Sweden, another one, for example, to Germany. But this last rescue, it was really a miracle, because somehow, miraculously, people donated a huge amount, and we could rescue 16 animals, like the poorest ones, the ones who couldn't walk anymore with injured legs, or right, and some found them fosters. It went so smoothly this time. It was great, and we were so worried of how they would reach the border, and if they would let them just pass, all of them, and how it would be if their papers would be accepted then in Europe. But somehow with all these nice, great people from Germany, with Claudia from the USA, with Linda from Great Britain, and somehow we organized this, and now we feel stronger that we can do more of it. It's possible, it's doable. Just the question is money and people on site, to have fosters. They're only
just so everybody knows, that was $700 basically, to go $665 to go from Ukraine to Germany with an animal. So okay, so how is there a way, one, that you can start, or is there a way to get an underground network to go to Mariupol, an underground for food, to bring them animal food?
No. So they let animals out. You should realize that Mariupol is like, they don't show it on TV, but it's occupied. It means there are soldiers everywhere. So they're alive. Right, when they're in the streets, they cannot film, we never see them, because it's just for filming. They will take their mobile phones off, they can take their cars, they can even kill them. Just the people are not protected there. It's occupation, so it seems like they have a plausible life there, everything is fine, but no. So there are rules, and we had until September 2022 we could take animals from Mariupol to Ukraine directly. There was one checkpoint where they could pass. So in September they just closed it, and time our driver was there, they just took his car, they threw the driver, luckily he's alive, and then there was no more possibility. And until that we could even deliver some food, not like big quantities, but I remember I managed to organize and deliver maybe 400 kilos of dog and cat food, and it went through. And after September they closed it, so the only possibility is to enter Mariupol is through Russian side now. And there is, like, even if it's considered Russia now, there is still a border control with everything, with customs and everything. Can you imagine? So it's like considered to be Russia, but it's not. And so at the customs points, they take everything away. Even if you take a bag of food for your dog or for your cat, just one bag, you say it's for my animal I'm traveling with. No, they say you should buy in Russia. So you should support our local producer. So you cannot just bring anything from Europe or from the US. It's not only food, it's all the rest, like all the clothes and everything. They would just take it away. And because they feel almighty, they have the right, and they take it for themselves.
Wow.
There are bribes, like this mafia, as I say. Some people maybe manage to do this, but you have to pay them a lot for these bribes. Even this time with the animals, we had to deal with it. It also depends on which person you meet. One day that can be a kind person. He will say, okay, go. Another day it will be a person who will take all your things away and will leave you alive. And the third day, you don't know, if you maybe meet a soldier with a gun who doesn't think you should stay alive after this. People are scared.
Hello. Thanks again for watching part 2 of Gabbin with Gary, with the interview with Animal Rescue Maruipol. Part 3 will be coming out tomorrow. Please please subscribe. If you'd like, please support my channel. You can go to Patreon. You can go buy me a coffee, and there's a few other places. I really appreciate your support. It all helps to keep these interviews coming. Thank you so much. And again, part 3 will be released tomorrow.